Hello and welcome back to another video of my complete guide part 4 to Reign of Nether RTS. In this video, we'll be looking into the Piglin faction, so let's get right into it. So to start, just click the Piglin icon on the top right and you can place down your first free Piglin right here. Then you want to build your capital like the other factions, and you can place this wherever you want, just like here, and I'll get my other people to start getting some resources. So now that our portal is made, I will get myself 2 more Piglin. So as you can see, the nether blocks, the crimson nylium, is starting to spread around the grass here. This is because as a Piglin faction, every single building except your basic portal must be placed on top of nethery blocks. So grass will be turned into crimson nylium, while sand will be turned into soul soil. You will also see that all the ores are now turned into either nether gold ore or quartz, and when they are mined, they will turn into magma blocks. So magma blocks can sometimes damage your people, so just watch out for that, and all your trees will turn as well. So now it will spread to about like a 30 block distance, and that will be your starting area. I'll just get a couple more people to do some things. And so now that if we look into a Piglin, we can see our basic portal. So they do not need to be built on nethery terrain. They can be built on normal grassy terrain. And their usage is to spread the nether, nethery area around them, to expand your area that you can build, and it is also functions similar to a house, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later after we build it. I'll just put this right here. So now that this person has returned with the food, we'll also see that for the Piglin faction you'll also get a bridge. This will be a blackstone bridge, and unlike the other faction, it uses ores instead, so the bridge, in my opinion, is a bit more expensive than the other factions. For the farm, it will be similar to the villager farm, which is 150 wood to build. They function similarly, and apparently the Piglins' food of choice is nether wart. So I'll build one right near the front. As you can see, I can't build it on grassy terrain. I'll have to build it on like the nethery terrain. So after this one spreads a little, we can build it right here. So back to the basic portal, we can see that it has 3 upgrades now. The first upgrade is civilian portal, which if you convert into civilian portal, it will act as a house as well as a stockpile. It'll give you 50 population as it says in the description, and it takes 75 wood to make. So this is basically your house and stockpile combined. The next one is the military portal, which is basically your barracks in the villager faction. So basically the portal is multi-usage, I guess. So the first tier, they spread the nether terrain around. As you can see, it doesn't spread too much, but enough for you to build a few things. And they also act as houses, stockpile, as well as barracks. The third one is a transport portal. Basically, it acts as a portal or waypoint that the troops can just travel straight through. It will take a research, and personally during a fight, you'll probably be panicking around trying to get your troops around to the battle, and I don't think the transport portal is gonna be doing too much personally. So anyway, for the front line here, I'll make it into a civilian portal, and it'll turn into a slightly bluish portal after this. Now that we've built at least one basic portal, we have 2 more new buildings we can make. So the Bastion is a building that acts like a watchtower. However, it also allows you to make Piglin in the military version of the basic portal. So it's similar to a troop building, and yeah, this is a must build if you want to have an army, because you need this in order to make any real troops. The second one is a Hoglin Stables. It basically allows you to make Hoglins, and it also has an upgrade inside which allows Piglin to mount on Hoglins and ride into battle. That's pretty good because it's a combination of melee and perhaps range units, allowing the unit to be very versatile. So I'll need to just gather a bit more resources and I'll be back very quickly. So now that we've got a good supply of different resources going, we can start building our different actually good buildings. So I'll first build myself a bastion at the back as a slightly acts as a troop building. Yeah, troop building. So you also want to make yourself another basic portal, probably somewhere near your main portal here. This one will be turned into a military portal, which means it'll become like kind of a barracks. So it's very important that you don't put this in the front line, as if this is gone, you're not building any more troops. So just let these build real quick. So now that the basic portal is built, we'll just turn to military portal for 125. Now we'll turn that. And we'll also build ourselves a Hoglin Stables, also again towards the back, and it is a troop producing unit, kind of. So after these are built, we'll have a couple more new buildings. We'll have a Flame Sanctuary, which is a upgrade building, kind of. So it basically provides upgrade, and it also allows you to make blazes. The Wither Shrines allow you to make Wither, as well as a few more upgrades. And finally, the Fortress is basically your castle from the Villager faction, or your stronghold from the Monster faction. So this is basically the most powerful, strongest building. And it also allows you to make Ghast, I believe. Yes, it allows you to make Ghast. So Ghast is, of course, they shoot fireballs, so it does a big area damage as well as setting enemies on fire. So it could be very good, and I'll talk more about that later. Now we see that our Bastion, our military portal, and our Hoglin Stable is built. So let's first go to our military portal. If you click on it, it basically looks exactly like how a barracks looks. So now, since we've built our Bastion, we can make Brutes, which is a melee unit, or Headhunters, which is your range units. So they're both pretty good. And we also make the Hoglins, as we have made the Hoglin Stable, so we can now also make Hoglins. They are very good early game, and well, they're still kind of good late game. So we'll just make a couple of these for our army. Okay, so now let's next look at the Bastion. In the Bastion, we have two upgrades. The first one is Shield Tactics. Basically allows your brutes, your melee unit, to raise a shield and basically block some of the damage. It is 300 wood and 300 ore, and while their shield is raised, they move very slowly. I've tried this one out, and personally it's not that worth it, as the reduced movement speed really affects how quickly your troops can move around and maneuver around, and the fact that it doesn't fully block the damage kind of defeats, well, it's not as effective. So personally, this one can wait for later when you have more resources to upgrade. So the next upgrade is Heavy Tridents. It allows you to knock back enemies when the trident hits an enemy. It is very good as it allows your ranged troops to keep a distance from the enemy, so they can just snipe the enemy from afar while the enemy can't even hit them. But this one is a lot more worth it in my opinion, and I'll just do that right now. Next we move on to the Piglin stables. Here we only actually have one upgrade, which is the Piglin Cavalry. It basically allows the Headhunter to mount on the Piglins, and as I said before, since it's a combination of melee and range unit, it is really good, so I'll definitely recommend you to research this upgrade. So now we can build the Flame Sanctuary and the Wither Shrine I've said earlier. So again, these are some upgrade buildings, so we'll put them towards the back. And we'll just wait for these to build. So now that both of these buildings are built, we can take a look at it. So firstly, the Flame Sanctuary. Now that we've built this, in our military portal we can make our blazes, and now that our Wither Shrine is built, we can also make Wither Skeletons. Blazes are blazes and they shoot fireball, but small fireball, so they don't do area damage. They are decent, but not worth it in my opinion. The second one is Wither Skeletons. They can wither people, they can wither enemies and deal a lot of melee damage. So after a while, maybe you've got more resources, I will start changing the brutes to Wither Skeletons, or basically a better unit. They do cost one more bed space, but I think 3 brutes to 2 Wither Skeletons is definitely worth it. Now let's take a look at the upgrades. In the Flame Sanctuary, we have 2 upgrades. The first one is Walls of Fire. It allows the blaze to basically set a wall of fire straight forward to ignite enemy. But since blazes are kinda weak and they get killed easily and they don't really defend themselves that well, you won't really use this Wall of Fire often. And also this Wall of Fire ability is very manual, so you actually need to click on the unit before they actually know they want to use the Wall of Fire. So this one, not worth it. But the second one, Fire Resistance, is a lot better because it prevents your unit from burning, and well, sometimes you may have some friendly fire. Perhaps the gas was firing at a bunch of enemy, and it may ignite some of your own people by accident. So having fire resistance is very good, as it basically removes the potential damage your unit may receive. So I'll make that right now. In the Wither Shrine, there's only one upgrade, which is Wither Death Cloud. It leaves a damaging potion cloud, basically, when a Wither Skeleton dies. It's alright, so make it if you have the resources, but it's not necessary in my opinion. So now that we've made basically every single building, we can now make our fortress, which is basically our most tanky building, as I said, and I'll just make it right here. And there we go, our fortress is now made. And if we go back to our military portal, we can now finally make a ghast. It is a very good unit, so I'll definitely make a few. But there is something you would like to make sure you know, is that the ghast area damage can also damage your own building. So like, if there's an enemy, perhaps like between these two buildings, and the ghast shoots at it, it may actually cause some damage to the Wither Shrine as well as the fortress. And so it is important to basically stop your ghast from attacking enemies within like very close to your buildings, as it may end up doing more damage to your own building than to the actual enemy. So you don't want to be basically self-destructive. So you want to watch out so that the ghast don't just go around and basically killing your own people and your own buildings. In the fortress, we have the final upgrade here, which is the advanced portal. And basically, after you do this upgrade, you can turn your portal, basic portal, to the teleport transportation portal. As I said in the beginning, it's not that good because it's unlikely you're gonna send your unit through a portal linked to another portal so they can travel slightly faster. So yeah. You can do this if you want to. It still has their value, but if you don't do this if you are having a lack of resources. And that's about it for the Piglin faction. It is a very powerful faction, however it does have its limitation, and it's a very fun faction to play with. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it down in the comments and I'll try to answer them if I can. If you enjoyed this video and would like more videos just like this, consider subscribing and leaving a like. And that's the end of my complete guide to Reign of Nether RTS. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.